Julia Delinaji with AMPTV. One of the reasons why we are here today is to talk about what is going on in the State Center Community College District in regards to Chancellor Dr. Deborah Blue. A lot of community leaders spoke, had concerns because it seems not to be clear on what the issues are concerning Dr. Deborah Blue. We will be speaking with Albert Baines, District 3, to get more insight on some of the issues that he brought up in his speech in regards to his proclamation that was presented during the list of community speakers that were up. You will also get to see some of the feedback we had from people like Tate Hill, Fresno Metro Black Chamber of Commerce, past administrators of the college district, and also other community speakers that really wanted to have some insight on what is happening. Too many whispers are going on, so AMPTV was here to cover it, to find out in depth what is happening so we can let you, the community, know more in depth. Julie Delinaji, AMPTV Now. Stay tuned. This is Julia Delinaji. We're back, and you are watching AMPTV Now Breaking News. I'm with the Honorable Oliver Baines, District 3 representative, who spoke today about the proclamation that he gave to Chancellor Dr. Deborah Blue. Can you give us some insight on some of the concerns that you had as a community leader? And also, not only are you a leader of District 3, but you're also a leader, we would say, for the African American community.
Right. I appreciate that, by the way. And yeah, I think I do have some grave concerns about just the process, the perception of the process that's occurring here with our chancellor. Clearly, we don't see anything publicly that she is failing. As a matter of fact, the public feels just the opposite. But internally, there seem to be some challenges, and that process seems to be very hidden and not transparent. And this is a public body. And, you know, I think it's incumbent upon them to make sure that whatever decisions they make are made in the light, not in the dark, and that they really explain themselves to the public, because we can't see it. Usually when a top executive is thinking about being excused or terminated or fired, whatever term you want to use, there's something that precipitated it. You can see it, or whether it's a bad earnings report or whether there was a scandal that occurred or something like that. In this situation, we don't have that. As a matter of fact, we have dozens of people that stood up today to say just the opposite. The mayor of the city of Fresno, the superintendent of Fresno Unified School District, who are highly touted executives in this area as well, discussed their relationship with her through letters. The Fresno Metro Black Chamber, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So you have powerful organizations that also describe the relationship they have with the chancellor and her leadership. And then you have multiple faculty members that have been in this institution in State Center College Community District for decades, right? Talk about how they've seen the change in the State Center since she's been here, and talked about the relationship that they have with her. So again, you have such a public display of what is all can be considered a powerful leader and an effective leader, and yet you have board members that are questioning what could be what we would assume is her leadership. And so I think that for me is very difficult. And then not understanding not seeing the transparency in their process. For instance, she wasn't even invited here today.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think that's that's why we have to call in the question of process. And of course, we as people of color are very sensitive to the process, because that's what saves us, right?
Do you think that's part of the discrepancy, that the public doesn't know the process and they don't know to stand up or come to these type of meetings?
I think right now that the board is yes, to answer your question. Okay. The public does know the process, but also there's a perception that the process is not being followed appropriately. Okay. And even one that understands public process, I'm not understanding everything either, and which is what my comments surrounded around to the board today. So I think they have a good. They're all elected officials. We
elect them.
We elect them, actually, and so we expect that the things that they do will come under public scrutiny, and that they can explain themselves to the public. So this is a body we should be asking, which is why I'm so very proud of so many people that came here to speak on behalf of the Chancellor today.
Interestingly enough, the proclamation was brought up, and I know you brought the issue up. Can you explain?
Sure. Yes, thank you for reminding me of that. So when I arrived here this morning, it was interesting. The board chair, Pat Patterson, he and I had never met until today, and when I introduced him to myself as Oliver Baines, he said, "Oh, well, I'd like to talk to you." And of course, I talk to anyone. Of course. And so we went to the side, and he he began to ask me how the proclamation that my office presented to the Chancellor at the Wall of Honor event made it to the agenda. And of course, as you know, Julia, I don't know how it made it to the agenda because I don't set the agenda. Sure. And I explained that to him. I said, well, I don't know because I don't set agendas for organizations. I'm asked to provide a proclamation, and if I deem the person worthy of a proclamation, I provide a proclamation. And he elaborated further, well, it took away from the event that the proclamation was there, and he seemed to be unhappy about the proclamation, even using the words that it took away from the event. And I was quite frankly very shocked that the chair of the board, whom in the proclamation delivered to his top executive officer, would say that a proclamation delivered to his top executive officer would take away from the event. As a matter of fact, I've never ever been told that a proclamation took away from an event.
And you've done dozens of proclamations per year, or per month.
Yes, right, and dozens a month, and that is the first such conversation. It was very odd, and I felt the board should know, so I made that a part of my public comment that the board chair asked me about the proclamation and seemed less than enthused that it had occurred, and I, very frankly explained to him that I give proclamations to whom I choose, and I don't set the agenda, and maybe in the future he should talk to whomever the body that sets the agenda about how the proclamation got introduced.
Technically, the proclamation shouldn't have been an issue. If anything, like you're saying, this is their top executive, so this should not have been a concern, and unfortunately, that makes it appear as if there's something to hide. Absolutely.
I think it just lends to the whole appearance of something that's going on. Why would the chair of the board be upset about a proclamation delivered to his chief officer? It's very odd, to be quite honest with you. If there's any, he tried to explain that other people weren't given proclamations. Well, there's only one chief, there's only one chancellor, and maybe if there was anyone that deserved a proclamation that day, it in fact is the chancellor. And she's the sitting chancellor, and he's the board chair. And instead of that being a moment for pride for the institution, it seems to not have been, which is very odd to me that would not have been a moment of pride for the board, all of the board, as well as the entire district, celebrating with the chancellor. And I thought it was a very odd thing, and I think you heard my comments to the board that it was odd that proclamations are a celebratory issue, and the board should have been proud that their chancellor received a proclamation from this office.
Ironically, it was also during Black History Month, so why not?
Yeah, exactly. It's as if to expound even further. It's just, So the whole interaction to me was very strange, and I thought that the board should know that the board chair was questioning why my office would deliver a proclamation to their chancellor.
How do you think the community can be effective in making changes so we don't have elected people that we elect into a particular position? We want to make sure that they follow through, they follow suit on what it is that we represent. What do you suggest that the community should do?
Well, in this situation, I think the community should pay a lot more close attention to the State Center College Community District, because obviously they wield a lot of influence. Not just the ballot. We may want to pay closer attention to who those board members are. We may want to listen. You had some faculty that you heard, Julia, and I think it's on tape, that talked about how the chancellor has been disrespected by board members, and I've heard that as well. And I won't say who, but I've heard that our chancellor has been disrespected by board in public meetings, with no public there, but the meeting's open to the public, and so I think that having more of us pay closer attention to this body in light of what's going on, is a smart thing. We need to make sure that the process is followed. The process protects us, and like I said, the appearance that the process is not being followed, and people using high-level ambiguous terminology to terminate the chancellor, to throw people off is really unfair. If they have just cause to terminate the chancellor, then they do, and I don't want to question that. If they have it, then they do. But again, the appearance is not that. And I also have some insight that the board. This is not a far from a unanimous decision. Right. So there's controversy on this board, which lends more to the idea that this process may not be all the way above board. So those are the issues that I think that our community probably wants to pay very close attention to.
Honorable Oliver Baines, District 3, we appreciate you being the leader.
Very welcome. Well, thank you, little Oprah, by
Absolutely.
the way. For all you guys know, this is our next Oprah Winfrey. We should support her, support this station, support ONME as much as we can. We have to support our community. So I know you didn't ask for that, but we want to do that, folks. So if you're watching, we want to make sure we do that.
This is Julia Dudley Najib. Stay tuned for more.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to give you the copy of I just wanted to briefly go to tradition on a couple of letters that were sent to me by Mayor Ashley Frazier and Superintendent Michael Hanson on behalf of Chancellor Blue. And I'm here to talk today about what is assumed to be an executive session about. Chancellor Blue has been a shining example of true community citizenship through professional mentorship, tackling the issue of student retention, and actively encouraging diversity in the district's hiring and procurement practices. We know Dr. Blue understands the needs of the community and the value the district can bring. We are confident in the leadership of Chancellor Blue, and we hope the Board of Trustees will continue to work with her as the district focuses on providing a quality education for our future generations. And I have a copy of this letter, also a similar letter that states those same points signed by Deborah Westerland, who's the president of the Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation. And I also just will say, as a former student of Fresno City College and the district, I'm really concerned about this process. And I would hope that the board would continue to act in the integrity and the reputation that I know the district and the respect that I have and have always had for the district and the board and this organization. And so I hope that you would consider this. I want to provide these letters.
But one of the things that when we were talking about this, the rumors have been going on for a while. And I can remember in November that things are going on. And we don't even know why we're here today. It's rumors, nobody's telling us what's going on. So you guys got a good idea. We just think that something is going on. Now we're looking at rumors, and we've had rumors that Dr. Blue is in trouble, probably substantiated by the fact that we are all here. There's rumors that Dr. Blue's office and staff and the board have become less than supportive of her, perhaps substantiated by the fact that she did go on for another position. But I know a lot of people who have gone on for other positions and have gone on for other employment and are still trying to go to other employment, and there's nothing has happened to them. So it's kind of, I don't know if you just rise up in high level, and at that point, people are going to, it looks like we're looking at perception now, and that's all it is. It's perception that maybe something is happening. And there was a rumor that Dr. Blue's cabinet was non-supportive. Now that I know all those people on the cabinet, when I did talk to those people on the cabinet, because I will do that, and I found out that no, that was not the truth. There might have been one, two, but the rest of them were very supportive of her, and that really came as a, and I'm here also. Deborah Cater told me to tell you that she is concerned because she's getting ready to go into accreditation, and everybody's aware of how the role that Dr. Blue played in accreditation, but for influencing everything. Not that the faculty and staff didn't do their part, but you're looking at the leader, that's what you want to do. And I'm looking at where I was, I've been here 35 years, what happened before Dr. Blue was here, I was there, and what's happening right now. And there is a difference. Franklin City College is in a very, and the district is in a very different position, and it's been good. But she doesn't want any of this. Deborah Cater says she does not want this to mess up her attempts at accreditation when they look back at what you're doing right now, or what we don't know what you're doing. The rumor that there was also some things that people were disrespectful of Dr. Blue, and I thought no, and I'm into civility. I am. I do want people to do right. And so any rumors you heard about me, those are rumors. But, when I heard about that, and that really kind of concerned me because she's always been a gentle woman. But people called up and said, oh, you should have heard how they were talking to Dr. Blue. And that became an issue. And I know that, when you say Dr. Blue, and Desi talked about women, I was talking to a group of 7th and 12th grader for Paul Copeland yesterday, and we're talking about women. They were women, and we're talking about what's going on. And I think as administrator, I've had more problems with being a woman than I have with being African American. And that's just the deal. Things are different. And so I would think that I know that in this position, the last woman that we had as chancellor, they didn't make it, which I was supportive of. But I think that one of the things is that I would offer that you give Dr. Blue the same type of forgiveness and chances and tolerance that you gave that person, and you gave her a lot. Believe me, I was a victim of all that. But anyway, I'm not this. Okay. And I think that perspective too, we're here because of this seems like we're just sitting here thinking, this is a nightmare. We just can't believe that we're going to wake up from. Because this is something that this is the first African-American woman that has come to the district. And then one day after African-American Women's Month, after we had all that great celebration and everything today, and then now we're going to get rid of the first African-American woman? That does not make sense to me. So I just want you to also just be aware that that is our concern, and as I stated, it's the perception. And the perception has not done well. And not for all you good people that I know are sitting behind that desk. I know you. I just don't, that's why it makes this whole thing so unbelievable, is that, because I do know you. And I look here and I'm celebrating diversity as I look at all of you sitting there. This is diversity here. So just want you to know. Thank you.
It almost reminded me of you guys wearing sheets over your head and you're just going to, I'm going to call it as it is, that you don't have the gumption to face her, to tell her what's going on in this meeting, because we don't know either. But as out in the community, I've heard so many people rave about her goodness, her leadership, and that she is just been a beacon for this college. And that most of my family has worked at this college, so I followed it through since my relocation in '93. So I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar with the leadership, with all of them, Dr. Crow, the other ones before they came. And it just bothers me, like they said, the process. Everything seems to be so sneaky. And I don't understand why, as an outsider. I'm not privy to all the information the faculty and staff are. I don't question my husband who works here. But when I hear this, it's a group effort, not just if one person got their feelings hurt because they didn't get her to do what they wanted to. Shame on you. It's a group thing. It's all about what's best for the college, not what's best for you sometimes. So as a community person, someone who's out there, if you're trying to establish groundwork to promote yourself to another office to serve us, it may not happen if the process here is not done correctly. And so that's about all I have to say. Think about it, and we just pray that it comes out to the right thing.
I started not to say anything, and I heard, and when I saw those sheets, I knew that if I didn't say anything, I would go home regretting not saying anything. I have a sister that she cusses, and so she doesn't want to cuss around me, and so what she does is say, "What the what?" And so I'm here this morning saying, "What the what?" I found, because I work at Fresno City College, and I've been there this will be my 25th year this year. And I know that in a few years I'll be looking at retiring, please, Lord. But before I leave this district, I want to leave a mark as being a part and giving something positive back to the district. And I was thinking about our communications panel board that we have, and we don't communicate very well. So when I started hearing rumors, I thought, what? So let me just face this, let me go. And I didn't know that the crowd would be so big here, but I wanted to say this. I'm hearing that we're going to lose our Chancellor, Dr. Blue, and that this is what this session is all about. I do not know that, as I've heard time and time again this morning. I don't know that. But I felt like as an employee of State Center Community College District, Fresno City College Business Division, as we've had open discussion within the division, as I go back to work Monday, that area, those 34, 35 full-time instructors, those 58 or so adjunct instructors will be looking at my desk and saying, "What happened, Pearl?" And I wanted to tell them, I wasn't sure when I started, but at the end of this meeting, I understand clearer. It's like there's an elephant in the room, and I want to push the elephant out in regards to what Pearl knows and what she does not know. I recognize that you all are the elected officials, that somebody had confidence in you to sit in those places where you sit, to represent us, and I appreciate that. I'm a strong advocate of voting, so I voted. So because I am that person, I'm standing here looking at you. What the what?
African Americans buying power, 8% of Fresno County. ONME is the one agency where you can find out what people watch, what they read, and what they listen to. Check out ONME.
Has moved. I was instrumental, I believe, in changing the complexion of our district, because when I first came to our district, we did not have that many people of color. And during those years, I've always talked about that we needed people to work in the White House, the White House being in 1525 East Willow. And finally, over the years, we have reached that point. And it appears to me, hearing the whispering campaign that is going on, that we're not going to have a person of color at the top of the helm anymore. And I would really appreciate it that, as a board member, I know that one board member does not control the board. It is a collective. And when it is a collective, we all make that decision together. You may have one or two people that do not support certain things. But when you have people, because I'm not there, and when I hear that there's a whispering campaign that goes on, sending out information that is not necessarily correct, I call it the whispering campaign. The whispering campaign is a very dangerous campaign. It can destroy a country. It is like being like Snowden when he took care of all of the information from the NSA and gave it to the Russians. And when we have people like that, they are very dangerous people. And when we have board members who may listen to that kind of behavior, then that is dangerous. As an elected official, we need to be individuals who think for ourselves and make an assessment based upon what we know, not based upon all the negative kinds of things that we hear from individuals who may have track records of negativity. And what I'm saying is that I believe that the Chancellor is a person of integrity. The Chancellor is an individual who is concerned about all of our children, all of the students that go to State Center Community College District. I've known her for a number of years. When she first came here, she did a very good job as the dean in the, I forget the name of it, in that reading English area. And then she moved on. And she's not an individual that just moved along and people promoted her because she was incompetent. They promoted her because she was an individual that was capable. And I think that she is leading and have a concern for the district, and she wants to bring more diversity to our district. And when we look at what is happening in California and looking at what is happening in Fresno, we need to have that. And so I really would appreciate it very much if you would take your decisions very serious and make those decisions based upon what you know for a fact and not on a whispering campaign. Thank you very much.
My name is Angela Hartfield. I'm standing here as a community leader and a mentor and youth advocate here in Fresno. And I wanted to speak on behalf of Chancellor Wu because not only does she inspire the youth that I work with every day, but she's also inspired me. I'm a product of Fresno City College. I made some choices, got married early, had some children, but I'm finishing my degree and will be done in July. But the reason I stand here today is because in my work and what I do and working with youth, I put on an event every year that inspires children to go on to college. And where I work, we have graduated 100% of our African American students. She was one of our speakers, and she inspired an entire class. This is your Chancellor, the one that you're considering getting rid of. She stood in front of 375 people that night, including 22 students of which graduated that year, and told them to believe in themselves and to be integritous in what they do and be honest and go after what they believe in because they can succeed. They are being told every day that they cannot succeed and they will amount to nothing. She shattered that dream. She shattered that stereotype. This woman stands for integrity and she is inspiring youth every single day. The statement that is on this program is what she says. She goes, I, as a person of color, I lead with honesty and integrity to have a successful experience. If I don't have a successful experience, it will be difficult for another person of color to follow. Those are the words of your Chancellor. She stands for what she believes in. Not only did she speak that day, she allowed Fresno State Center Community College sponsored this event for the kids in our community. This is Jeff Johnson. He is a national spokesperson for the NAACP. He came, he spoke, and inspired. That's what State Center Community College should be proud of, is that you inspire people to go after their dreams. And a majority of the children of color in this community come through your schools. They deserve a woman with this kind of integrity. They deserve this opportunity. They deserve to hear that they are somebody. And she is doing that every day. She inspired me to go back. At 41 years old with 2 children in college, I'm finishing my degree because of her. And there are many others out there just like me that are doing the exact same thing. My children went through City College only for a year, but they are now at the University of Oregon because they were prepared properly by staff members that she leads. And my daughter, she has graduated from Cal Baptist University in 3 years, an African-American female, 3 years, because she went through State Center and she had a woman like Deborah Blue tell her, you can do whatever it is you want to do. So I ask you, before you make this decision, consider these things for these children in this valley. They need more leaders like this to show them that no matter what they look like, no matter what they're told, that they can, with integrity and honesty, complete anything that they choose to do and they can give back to this community and make Fresno and anywhere they decide to live a very vibrant and productive community. Thank you.
African Americans buying power, 8% of Fresno County. ONME is the one agency where you can find out what people watch, what they read, and what they listen to. Check out ONME.
I'm going to ask you that you consider the facts, and here are the facts. The facts are community college was founded on shared governance and transparency. If we're unable to tell our chancellor that she deserves the same as everyone else does, how are we effective in accomplishing our task? I'd like to speak as a mom of 2 community college students. One was at Fresno City College when accreditation was going on. He became very panicked because he was afraid we were going to lose our accreditation. And he said to me, "Mom, I'm afraid that if they lose their accreditation, I will not be able to get to med school as I so desire." And he left and he went to college at Sequoias. He left Fresno City College with 36 units of a 4.0, a math, science, engineer major, African American. He had been told he was not able to accomplish that task. He went to COS, he tutored calculus at Fresno City College, the first African American that had ever tutored calculus at COS and at Fresno City College. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because we are the shining example for our children. And as African American leaders, we must be able to sustain momentum by getting the respect that we deserve. I will continue on to tell you as a mom that my son is at UCLA in a pre-med program. Yes, he competes very hard and he is on top of his class. And I say that he's on top of his class because he got the best education that he could possibly get at a community college. I'm a scholar. I'm not going to deal with the innuendos, the emotion. I am going to deal with the facts. Here are the facts. The facts are African Americans are the lowest group of success at Fresno City College and at State Center Community College. The facts are we are the lowest graduation and transfer rate as African American people. The facts are as soon as an African American is born, there is a prison cell to accommodate the male species. Those are the facts. Here are the other facts. The facts are Peter Senge states that changes is difficult to accept. They're difficult to sustain momentum when we do a whole lot of changes. And when we are at a level of success, we need to sustain momentum by having responsible dialogue. It is not responsible dialogue to decide that because I disagree with someone, then I have the position and the power to do otherwise. So, when I was a department head at Fresno City College, I had 7 different administrators. Talking about anarchy and chaos, I was involved in that. And I was the only stability in that area because everybody was moving around. So I was called upon a law. And some of the things that we disagreed upon was the way we assess and evaluated students. I've been at this district for 20 years, and in 20 years, we have not been able to procure an accurate assessment test for the kids at Fresno City College. That is vital to our student success. And why am I saying this? I'm saying this because we need to be able to understand changes, and we need to be able to understand transparency. We need to be able to tell our students what is happening and what is going on. As I do every Friday night as a mom, I speak to both of my children on the telephone. And last night was particularly stressful for me because I had to relate to them that what could happen and what may happen. And their first question was, does other students know? And I said, I'm unsure. I got to work yesterday at about 7:30. I helped about 28 students, and several of them asked me what was going on. I said, I do not know. I cannot respond to any email until the end of the day. So I think that each of you have a responsibility and a duty to respect whatever process is going to happen, be tolerant of other people's opinion, decision, and respect a position, just as we respect your position, that a dialogue will occur, one that's effective, one that will reflect transparency, the truth, and most of all, to consider our students. To consider our students in this process, and to understand that accreditation is a big part of the community college process, and without stability and valued leadership, we're not going to be able to procure that. Thank you.
Pat, Ron, Dottie, John, Derek, Isabel, Richard. We all been together, worked together on a lot of things. Me and you, Isabel, on things that's outside the realm of this. Dottie, you know you always been in my heart. Ron, me and you started at Reading. Pat, you always been cordial with me. We always talk head up. But this here right now, I don't understand what's going on. You know, say what you're going to say, that your nays be nays and your yays be yays. But I did not question the board, but I'm talking about Deborah Butte here. You got my letter of how she guided this district through the accreditation, showed transparency, and plus, I should have gave you the shared governance that she allowed us here in this district to have. We had a chance to take charge of what we want to do within the district. Yes, she makes the final decision, but she let us use our brains and let us come together and make decisions also. And if they're good decisions, she accepts them. If they're not, she wouldn't. So to turn this lady around, I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know what this is all about. But if there's something that you didn't get, and now you're angry, leave it alone. I don't never get all what I want either. So I just want to say that to you, and like I said, I'll work with all of you. And Deborah Blue needs to stay. We're going to need her guidance past this day. All right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I work with a lot of you in different capacities, and I really wasn't intending to speak, and I just showed up to support. But as I'm sitting there and I'm listening to everybody, and as someone who's been working for Fresno Unified for 15 years, and have made numerous attempts, numerous, when I say numerous, and those of you who know me, I'm relentless, to really create a partnership between State Center and Fresno Unified to bring opportunities to students at that level. My experience for the past 4 years has been phenomenal for a variety of reasons. One being the fact that Dr. Blue has made herself available. I have had direct access to her the way I have never had direct access to people in my own organization. And I cannot emphasize that enough. Someone who answers text messages, someone who answers emails, someone who goes above and beyond to make sure that kids get access. Someone who has shown up to every event. I cannot get my own folks to show up. There's been spaces that Dr. Blue has been there, and I cannot get anyone from the district office from Fresno Unified to come. And you cannot tell me she's not as busy. So I look at someone like that, and I ask myself, this cannot be fake. You cannot keep up a lie continuously. And she has been consistently supportive. On Tuesday, we're bringing to you an MOU, which I am beside myself that we're going to finally have a true partnership, that we're going to give access to our students, that our students are going to be able to graduate high school with college credits and be on their way to succeed. I don't know what else one can ask for. So I plead to you, as a professional, as a friend, as a colleague, that really rethink this decision. And I'm sure there are reasons for it. And as a person who's made plenty of mistakes, I'm here to say we can all learn from them. I tell my 15-year-old, the first time you make a mistake is a life lesson. The second time is a habit. Give a person to learn, a chance to learn from their mistakes, and continue leading us on this path of connecting and giving opportunities to our kids. Because you cannot tell me that any of us are here for any other reason. I appreciate your time, and I know you will do what's best for our kids. Thank you.
Not anticipating speaking, but something I need to say is I have a very big concern about process. And I have a very concern about change. At Reedley College, we have been in transition and interned to death for a number of years now. This last year, my boss's boss, and my boss's boss's boss were all interim. That is wrong. That is instability. That encourages incompetency. We need some constancy. And we need to know what's going on. For so long, probably the last 5 years, I felt like I'm not really sure what's going on and what's going to happen next and who's going to lead me. I think that as people on the front line, we need to know who our leaders are and where we're to go. And we need, and I hate to use this word because it is overused and it's become sort of a joke to me, but transparency. As the people who are being led, we need to know that we have input. I've never been asked to evaluate Deborah Blue, but I certainly experience everything that comes down. And so I really want to encourage you to spend time talking to us. I've been with the district almost 30 years, and no one's ever asked me. Not about my boss's boss, or my boss's boss's boss, or the chancellor. So I really like you to consider that we be included in the process. That's what I was thinking.
Will there be some kind of notice or announcement that follows the closed session?
I cannot say comment one way or the other on anything in closed session. Can't even talk about what's in the content.
You will be returning to this area after the closed session. No.
We're just going to adjourn, probably.
From the closed session, you will adjourn.
I think so.
Okay.
You know, we will adjourn after the closed session.
Just following this, I'm just saying, I know that you go into closed session, and but it says open session. And that's why I made that statement. Because I have believed that after you went into closed session, then you would return according to the agenda.
We have to go into open session to close the meeting.
Right.
That's a requirement.
Okay, so but you'll do that in that where else you're going.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to wait around.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, will you announce your decision when you?
I don't know what decision you're talking about.
I mean, if you make a decision, will it be announced in open session?
I'm sorry, I cannot comment anything because you know, you're referring to that you have some knowledge about what's on our agenda.
No, if you make a decision in closed session, will you announce that decision in open session when you return?
If we're required to, we wouldn't be required to do any of that by law.
That's what I'm asking.
We would be required to do that by law.
We should stay down. It's late.
African Americans buying power, 8% of Fresno County. ONME is the one agency where you can find out what people watch, what they read, and what they listen to. Check out ONME.
Session, and at this point I'll adjourn the meeting since we have nothing to discuss, no business. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, Nina.
Thanks, Nina.
If y'all don't need that pizza, I'm gonna get you as you go out the door.
Bro, you need some money for on that pizza?
That's fine. Just the presence is for all of you.
It's your purse. Thank you.
Ready to get some pizza?
I'm gonna get a slice on my way out the door.
Okay.
That was interesting.
Everybody knows there's a meeting Tuesday, right?
Anything, but after consulting with our legal representative, I have to tell you that I appreciate that you all came out here. However, I'm restricted by personnel regulations and the Brown Act. I cannot tell you anything about anything that occurred in our closed session. So I guess what I'm saying, I can't say anything. But anyway, I do appreciate that you came and, voiced your opinions, and especially the Pearl.
Yeah, because I got one more question I need to ask before we leave. And I appreciate and understand those rules and regulations within the district, seeing that I work for the district. I know that next week there's a regular board meeting, correct? Can we assume that there is going to be a continuation of this process for whatever this is next Tuesday?
I cannot comment on what's going to be discussed today or in the future in any closed session.
Okay, because there is a noted closed session. I haven't read my board notes yet.
Yes.
And so, okay, thank you very, I appreciate it.
We have one as a matter of course for every meeting anyway.
Okay.
But no, I would be, I'm prohibited. I cannot say anything.
Right.
Not only do we have the Brown Act and personnel regulation, but we also have, in any case where you're dealing with individuals, you have personnel privacy rights.
Yes, sir.
And we're sort of at a disadvantage in that we can't say anything, period. And that is a big disadvantage sometimes.
And we have to say that as a point of concern of this group, that is a point of concern for, and it's a point of concern, let me say this, I'm not speaking for a group, I'm speaking for me. It's a point of concern for me. What you told me, that's what I'll take back to my work area. So to not know anything, to come to this place, because I hate rumors, we'll continue to rumor me.
And you know what, girl, I think, I know Pat, you can't say anything, but I think I would surmise that we'll probably be back and doing the very same thing that we did today. Just because this is we just suppose something was happening, we just have to suppose something again, because you can't tell us anything.
Right.
So we can just surmise that we'll be here next time for the next board meeting.
Could I add a word, if I may? I really, I'm just speaking for myself, and it's not an official meeting at this point. I just want to say that it's important to us to talk with you, even though we can't really say anything, and show respect that we did hear you. And we did take some time to consider everything, and it's a process that we have to respect, like you said, for individual privacy and so forth. So I just want to personally thank you for being here, for expressing yourselves, and we're going to continue to do what we need to do to serve all of our groups, all of our constituency. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
But a decision will be made that we will be aware of, is it's a yes or no, sooner or later down the line, whenever it's made or whatever.
Larry, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I think we do. You just can't say anything. Okay.